Hello and welcome to another episode of Hamba Natsi, where we explore the senses and the sensibilities of the Kingdom of Swaziland through travel and lifestyle. My name is Nomvuyo Mina. Let's keep it moving, shall we? As the collective consciousness of the world keeps moving towards that completely green lifestyle, it's heartening to see that the citizens of this lush and mostly pristine country are catching on very quickly to the international wave of upcycling, which sees to the repurposing of waste items while keeping one's factors of production minimal. Lungile Mbamali is one of our country's conscious entrepreneurs who is reminding us at this time that keeping our natural environment clean is actually a non-negotiable feature of that first world Swaziland we're all rooting for at the moment. As fashion designer, seamstress and proprietress of her trade, Lungile Mbamali is all that plus a bag of chips.
Not so long ago, Lungile Mbamali was a household name in the local fashion industry, her clothing draping the bodies of local celebrities and socialites, the likes of TV personality Nomcebo Malinga, face of 2015 Durban July Gugu Dladla, and former model Primrose Bennett. Her lines have graced Africa's biggest fashion catwalks, among others Mnet's Face of Africa. Though still engaged in the art of designing, today Lungile creates unique and eye-catching fashion accessories that make a statement or solicit a comment from those seeing them for the first time.
I'm now running a brand called Bantwana. It's an upcycling business. At first I thought it was recycling, but then I got the definition, which meant recycling. You break down the pieces and then you mix it with something else and then it's a recycled product. And yet upcycling is a matter of taking a product that has been used before and you improve it and then you sell that.
Bantwana for the Kid in You focuses on upscaling junk treats into fashionable accessories with a twist, and founder Lungile Mbamali Bawetu says while their product puts a smile on many faces, it is the company's positive contribution to the bigger purpose in today's concerted effort to save the environment and embrace a green lifestyle that inspires her the most.
As small as Bantwana is, I do feel like it's contributing, because whether it's myself picking up papers from the ground, I do have the community helping, neighbors, even offices where I'm able to collect from the waste from them and then transform it into the bags and pencil cases. So as small as it is, I do feel somehow it's contributing, but there's still a lot more that could be done. It seems like the more you pick up, you find there's another pile the next day, so you just have to keep at it constantly.
For Lungile, the transition from fashion designing to upscaling was somewhat an organic one, a simple case of being at the right place at the right time, armed with the right skill. What began as a party knick-knack idea soon blossomed to a worthwhile business venture.
The time when I was helping to run the preschool, we had run out of party ideas for the children at the end of year, so we needed presents to give away. And since we do walks around the ring road, I felt that maybe rather than throwing away the rubbish, use it into something usable. And from that idea came about. Produced the pencil cases, gave them away. The parents were pretty excited, and then they said, maybe you should try it as a business. That's when I ventured into it.
In Siswati, they say "Lugotjwa lusemanti," which loosely translated means values instilled at an early age last a lifetime. The birth of Bantwana is a sum of Lungile's experiences and a reflection of values instilled at an early stage.
I think environmentally, respecting the environment would have started from childhood stage. Basically, we'd attend parties and we'd get shouted at for leaving all the rubbish after we had done everything, from the junk food, papers and everything. And then basically from that point of view, just to avoid getting the shouting, we'd end up picking up the papers ourselves and putting them in the rubbish bins without being us. And that has actually filtered through even now towards even the kids that I have now. They also responsibly take care of the environment.
The playful nature of the product has also inspired some funny comments in classic cases of mistaken identity in people's offices, leaving people amazed at the clever idea, as they call it, or not so clever when you are the butt of the joke.
A funny moment that I do remember was somebody had left, I think it was a chocolate brand, that left it on top of the desk, and normally this person just comes, chips the chocolate and leaves it there, and without telling the person that they're actually taking the product. And then this time that it came, they picked up the pencil case and they're like, what? This isn't chocolate. What prank is this? So yeah, that kind of like set the person off, but then they were also excited about such a product.
When you have a purse like this, then the skellums or the robbers don't know that it's your wallet full of money in Johannesburg.
So when all is said and done, they say in a perfect world, activists should eventually work themselves out of a job. Once the environment is cleared up and there is no longer trash lying about on the streets, will that be the end of the kid in you?
There will always be waste, one way or the other. So yes, as there is waste, one would be able to help getting rid of some of that waste. And if we keep the environment clean, there will be another green idea coming up again from that, if that arises.
And keeping it on the theme of repurposing, we now take a look at one of Africa's most successful upcycling stories, Gwenya Glass. Gwenya Glass is one of the oldest glass-blowing factories on the continent, and one of their products might very well be in your dining room as well. Gwenya Glass.
In 1987, the Pettijohn family decided to visit Swaziland after their hobby of collecting glass elephants throughout southern Africa came to an abrupt end. What initially seemed like an end of an era was in fact the beginning of a beautiful journey that makes for great storytelling around the bonfire on a beautiful night. It was here that they met their fate to become the proud owners of Africa's only glass-blowing factory, the world-famous Gwenya Glass. The factory, which now employs over 60 locals, has groomed many glass-blowing artisans in this fine craft, and their steady growth has made Gwenya Glass somewhat of a household name.
Yeah, we have created quite a few job opportunities, not let alone people that work here. But as I've said before, we've got people that collect glass for us. They are at the dump site in Bantwana, dump site in Manzini, but some collect independently in town, in Bixby, Sitegi. So you might have not noticed, but I bet you will never ever be able to find a piece of glass or an empty piece of broccoli that had savannah or mayonnaise lying around anywhere in Bantwana, because it's worth some money for some people. And people who are very, very much into recycling, some of them do make a living, because some of them can at a time get something like between 1,500 and 2,000 rand a month. Those are the...
Upon arrival at Gwenya factory, one is met with intricate works of art, some of which celebrate Swaziland's fauna and indigenous plants, such as the yellow plant. This is just a prelude of what Gwenya Glass has to offer, and it's only when one steps in that they fully understand what makes Gwenya Glass so much of a hit with the many tourists that visit here. It is here that the magic unfolds. Glass is collected and recycled from all corners of the country. Then it is smelted and shaped into a vast array of products, from simple drinking glasses, jugs and vases to ornamental African crafts that take your breath away at the sight of such intricate designs. The art of glass blowing is not for the faint-hearted, and out of this melting pot, only a few can truly master the skill and art of glass blowing.
Over the years, we just discovered that it's better to teach the younger people because it's easy for them to learn. But also, not everyone can do it. As you have seen, it's a skill. It's a skill. So I normally call a lot of young people to come here for a practical interview. And then out of them, we choose those that we think over time they can learn it.
From this humble workshop, some of these ornaments find their way to all corners of the world, Australia, America, etc., once they catch the eye of the number of tourists that visit the place day in and day out. Speaking of catching an eye, our very own Sbusiso Mhlanga caught CNN's attention as one of a few master glass blowers coming out of Africa.
Yes, it was about 3 or 4 years ago. I was just lucky. They came here and interviewed me, and they just decided that I should do that interview with the African Voices, which featured on CNN. I was quite pleased about that. And, there are some people that I didn't even know that just phoned me a glass and asked for Sbusiso Mhlanga. And when I took the phone, they just congratulated me. And I was very happy about that because most of them I didn't even know them.
Nothing could have prepared the world for what has become one of Africa's leading glass producers and green companies, least of all the Pretty Johns, who have now become the poster family for eco-friendly business practice. So, for each and every item that is bought, clients are contributing to a larger cause, which includes the preservation of rhino in Swaziland.
Well, one man's trash truly is another man's treasure, and Gwenya glass is a crystal clear and shiny example of this fact. Well, I'm going to take a drink from one of my Gwenya glass classics while we go on a quick break, and when we come back, we're going to have an adventure on horseback. Best believe it, Hamba Natsi. When we reflect on the history of horses, we discover that the breeding of this beautiful beast actually originated within human society to evolve our lifestyle for both practical and aesthetic reasons, for travel, the performing arts, for sports, and even ceremony. The bond and the synergy we share with horses is truly unique because most of our communication with horses is non-verbal, and so it's a rather spiritual bond. We took a visit to the Swaziland Liska Equestrian Centre, a home for horses, to explore.
Liska, Swaziland, tucked away at the foot of the lush rolling Sheba's Breast mountain range, is eSwatini Valley's little piece of true heaven. Since its establishment just over 10 years ago, this horse stable and equestrian center has groomed some world-class steeds. We arrived at pampering time to witness a moment of closeness between horse and man. This seemingly tedious grooming regime is necessary for high performance of the animals, and as with any investment, extra care assures longevity.
Hey, how are you? Good and you?
I'm well. My name is Vuyo.
My name is Marty.
What are you doing, Marty?
I'm giving my horse a pedicure.
How often do you do that?
Probably about once in 2 weeks. And it's basically just to give him a natural wear and tear on his foot.
Oh, okay.
On basically his hoof, not foot.
A natural wear and tear.
Yeah.
Why?
We have domesticated our horses. And they stand in stables, like small little rooms.
Yeah.
They stand in their own poop and wee. And then they go out to a paddock. And a paddock it's large, but it's not big enough. Because they are used to, the wild horses are used to going for 50 to 100 kilometers a day.
Yeah, and the
in rough terrain,
yeah.
Rocky mountain fields.
Yeah.
So they have that natural hoof wear and tear. So basically what I'm doing now is I'm trimming the hoof so that it mimics the natural
And so the
50.
horse continues to develop naturally and
Exactly.
healthily.
Yeah. So he doesn't need shoes if I continue my work every 2 weeks.
Yeah.
So yeah, and he's good.
This day is spent pampering, grooming and feeding the horses, who in turn reciprocate all this love with devotion and synergy with their horse whisperers.
Miracle. Liyala tindlela ukamalala.
Ya kakhulu. Kakhulu.
Hello, Miracle. This is pretty easy. I'm amazed how easy it is. They're such gentle creatures. And with just a little tug of this cord, then Miracle and I can cooperate about our direction. I tug him in the direction that I want him to go. Now, I'm not sure if it's a he or a she, but it's such a gentle creature. I haven't actually checked if we're a girl or a boy. I think we're a girl. Miracle's a girl.
The synergy and grace between rider and horse leaves one mesmerized. 17-year-old Sanziso has been training as a gymnast on horseback for just over 5 years, and with each glide his skill honed.
Sanziso, that was magical. How long have you been doing this?
It's been 3 years now since I started walking.
And how did you get to start this? How did you find out about it?
I just cooperated from my friends who were vaulting, so I had to ask from them if they could come with me where they do their horses. So I came with them and they showed me how to do it.
These steeds have been groomed at the sport of dressage, gymkhana and more. Our fearless leader Nomvuyo thought she'd try a hand at gymnastics. In the capable hands of Nina Ellen, the stable's horse whisperer, it would seem she would tame.
Thank you so much for giving me my first time on the horse and just making it so easy.
Yeah, you did well.
We're in a black community, and vaulting and dressage and all of these customs, they're quite new to us. How is the popularity of these things growing among the Swazis, among the community?
Well, in generally, horse sport is quite expensive sport. The horses are expensive to buy and to maintain. The tack, everything that goes around the horse, the maintenance, all the maintenance is really expensive.
Yes.
So that's why Kate Riley, the owner of the stud, she started the vaulting because it's much cheaper and easier accessible for the local kids. So you can have one horse and you can have about 10 kids doing vaulting at the same time. So it saves a lot of money. And what we try to do is that people that can afford, or kids that can afford the lessons, they will pay, and the local kids that can't afford it, they can come for free, and they do some social work around the stud. They will maintain the tack, they will clean the tack, or clean the horses, or they clean up on the grass, and they do some gardening work or something that's that everyone can basically, who wants to do the vaulting, who wants to be involved with horses, is able to. Yeah, that's the plan.
I think that's a charming arrangement, and it teaches the local children responsibility, looking after the animals.
Yeah, it does.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So it's very nice that they get to be here. I'm gonna go right ahead and put my latest adventure on my resume. My name is Nomvuyo, but it's the horse whisperer to you, okay? We now speak to Swaziland's leading special effects makeup artist. Setabile Taylor is here to discuss her latest film credit with us. Setabile, Most people think that makeup is a frivolous or a vain adventure, something useless. What's your take on that?
I wouldn't say it's useless because banengi bantu labaya esikolweni to study film, and for one to be on TV, they must wear makeup, and you find that we've got so many films lafagabo special effects.
Now the good thing is that Setabile is actually going to show us what she's talking about. We're not just getting the theory, she's going to demonstrate these special effects. So, Setabile, what's going on here?
Okay, I'm gonna do a 3rd-degree burn.
Oh wow, okay. So while we wait for it to dry, I wanted to ask you, what attracted you to this kind of work?
Oh, well, for me, I wanted to do the beauty makeup. So when I went to research on where I can study it, I discovered that they even do SFX, and I just fell in love with SFX. I just fell because there's too much work there. You do molds, you play with clay, Yellowstone, there's blood and everything. So I just fell in love with that because most of the time people think the blood is satanic or whatever, yet we use food to do that. For stage blood, you find that we use syrup,
Right.
we use custard, we use food coloring.
Yes.
And it's really not satanic. And this is made out of gelatin. Gelatin is what we use for dessert.
I'm so glad you're here today because truly you've allayed many fears in Makaya. I think for the longest time there are still some people who are not sure what goes on in these bloody scenes in movies. So I'm sure you're used to working under pressure now. And you've worked on 2 films recently doing special effects. What was the difficulty level of one film compared to the other?
Okay, I worked on 2 films in Swaziland, Uvile and The Liberator.
Okay.
It was a very good experience, and it was my first time doing my film eSwatini. And Lengagu show, it was a bit of a challenge. Ga Uvile, that's where I did special effects kona gakulu.
Oh.
But again, The Liberator, gakulu, it was the beauty makeup.
Ah,
Yes.
okay. And I'm sure the special effects are more time consuming. I can see from what you're doing here.
They are, but it depends on the piece that you'll be making on that day.
Ah, okay. Oh, wow. It's amazing. That looks like a burn.
Yes, it is a 3rd-degree burn.
Yeah. So, Setabile, after you started to study the special effects, what are the films that you saw that made you think this is the goal that I want for my work? That's brilliantly done.
I've always enjoyed watching horror movies as I was growing up, but Wrong Turn 1.
Wrong Turn 1.
That's the best. That's one movie I always enjoy watching. I've watched it over and over again, but still I wanna wake up and watch it almost every day.
Yeah,
I love the special effects because it looks so real.
Yeah.
It's not like the other films. Their special effects, we are born and it's from the computer.
Exactly.
Yes, but with Wrong Turn 1, it looks real.
Yeah.
And I would really love with the person who did the special effects for Wrong Turn.
Ah, okay. So Wrong Turn 1. For all your aspiring special effects makeup artists, take a look at Wrong Turn 1. So growing up, when we watched a film with scenes like this one here, or just a typical horror film, then we'd have a hard time sleeping because we believed all of these things that we saw. But now you've gone and studied how these things are achieved. How has that changed your viewing experience now? Are you still able to get spooked or?
Well, as I was growing up, I was really, I'll be scared. With my brother, I always want to close my eyes and but for me now, watching horror movie, it's actually looking for the next piece. What am I gonna do next? And okay, what do they use for that piece and all that? So for me now, it's work. Yeah. It's something that I want to do every day. I watch horror and I'm looking at a new piece and I'm looking at how I can do it or how they did it.
You're watching Hamba Natsi. I just got a 3rd-degree burn. Do you still want to Hamba Natsi? Yes? No? Until next week, let's keep it moving.